Good morning, good evening, and good day. You're listening to Drama Buds, an anime podcast. So hello everyone, welcome to today's episode of Drama Buds. It's our very first impressions episode of the year, and today we're talking about Island. Now, I would like to announce that I have a new goal for my first impressions because I used to do first impressions and just talk about, the good, the bad, and whether or not I will continue it, I'll commit to finishing it, or I'll just completely drop it. But I feel like I've been doing less of that recently, or less than I would like to, because I, once again, am just getting into the mood of, if I don't like it, if it does not vibe with me, I will not continue it, because we have limited time in this world. Why are we watching dramas we don't like? But then I feel like that just limits the things that I watch. I feel like I drop too many things. I don't give things enough of a try. So I feel like I can still stick to, watching only things that resonate with me while still trying things with an open mind if I change my mindset with how I watch things and how I do my first impressions on things. So instead of just deciding whether or not I will continue or drop, I am going to try to find out, who is this show for? Who is the target audience? Because a lot of the time, I'm not the target audience. So I feel like it would be a good exercise for me to not only think of myself and my preferences, but other people's preferences. And at least I won't feel like I wasted my time watching a show, going through 6 episodes of a show, knowing I'm just going to drop it at the end of this. I'm just trying to find out what I want to say just so I can fill up an episode. It's exhausting. Let's not do that. So instead, I will try to find the right audience for this show that I am doing my first impressions on. And if I want to continue it, I'll continue it. If I want to drop it, I will most definitely drop it. But at the very least, maybe I directed someone to this drama that I will not be continuing. Go on and enjoy it without me. Okay. So now we move on to the actual review on Island. Technically, this should be a full review, right? If you're looking at Island as Island Season 1 and Island Season 2. But this is not, a 6-episode drama and another 6-episode drama. It's a 12-episode drama split in half, which I will rant about later. So I consider this to be my first impressions on the first half of this drama. And just a fair warning, I'm not here to convince you that this is good, because it's not. Guys, it's not good. I cannot convince myself that this is a misunderstood masterpiece, There's just so much good here. Like, I can see all that is bad about it, and yet I am still enjoying it. And the thing is, I'm not hate watching it. I do not want people to, come into this review and think like, oh my god, she's just hate watching it again. Why is she saying so many negative things about it? Like, no. I'm really enjoying it. But like, the overwhelmingly bad things are just calling out to me. But I am capable of shutting down parts of my brain to just keep the ones that are enjoying this. And the thing is, hate watching to me is looking at something that you could be neutral about and just nitpicking every little thing, digging deeper and deeper just to find something to hate about it, right? That's not what I'm doing here. I don't have to dig. The bad stuff, it's on the surface. I can see it clear as day. And yet, I'm trying to understand, why am I still enjoying this? What is so enjoyable about this for me? So just a fair warning, this is not a very positive, glowing review as you would expect from me usually if I have these dedicated first impressions episodes. But I like it. So, Island is written by, I don't know any of the other writers' works, but one writer is the writer of Jinx at first, which is a bad sign. And then the director, I've never heard of this person or any of their works. Another bad sign. But a good sign is this cast. It stars Kim Nam-gil, who I've seen in Through the Darkness and Emergency Declaration. Babes, I am in my Kim Nam-gil phase. You will see me watching maybe The Fiery Priest. Who knows? Maybe Live Up to Your Name. Sure, why not? Maybe Queen Sondok. Maybe I'm gonna go that far for Kim Nam-gil. I'm tempted. Okay, so yes, Through the Darkness, Emergency Declaration stars Lee Da-hee. I've seen her recently in Love is for Suckers and long ago in I Hear Your Voice. Cha Eun-woo, who I have only seen in like 3 episodes of true beauty. So, not a fair assessment of his acting. I will talk about him later. I'm actually impressed. And also stars Song Joon, who after some digging I found out was the main lead in Shut Up Flower Boy Band. And for those who had TVN on their screens in 2012, if you know, you know, this and Reply 1997 should technically be my official gateways to K-drama. Because I actually watched those when they were airing way back then. So, Island is about Won Mi-ho, a chaebol daughter who is sent to Jeju Island, and she finds herself constantly being chased and attacked by demons. She meets Van, this demon hunter who protects her, and Johan, an exorcist, and together they find the root of all evil on the island, and she discovers the truth behind her twisted fate. It is, as dramatic as I describe it to be. Once again, I'm not here to convince you that this is good, because I cannot convince myself that this is good. Sometimes, we can like things that are not good and somehow still enjoy them. But today, I am going to talk about what I somehow enjoy about this show. To once again break from tradition, I'm gonna start with the bad, just to get it out of the way, right? Just so I can get to the good stuff. Let's discuss the bad stuff first. Well, the directing, the editing, the CGI, it's a little bit choppy and a little bit sloppy. The flow of scenes often jumps through time and space in a confusing way. I genuinely don't know how much time has passed since this show was began. I don't know, there's just something about it that just feels like we are in a box with no windows or no doors. Sometimes, there are good shots or movement of the camera or sequences, but that's like one good shot, one good directorial choice in a sea of terrible ones. I mean, some people say, oh yeah, the cinematography is good. I guess maybe it is the editing that is really just atrocious to me, but it is so choppy. The CGI is not great. I mean, it's not the worst. I think it is very similar to Sweet Home, right? Where Sweet Home had really, the monsters looked not realistic at all and not terrifying enough given the genre of the show. So similar with this case, I think they did more practical effects with the people, at least, the more human monsters. But yeah, the big tree monster, it was a little ridiculous. The actors were acting their hearts out, their whole bodies out, just to make that fight look cool. But yeah, speaking of combat, the wire work and the special effects during combat, they look pretty good. The camera work there is okay. Now, aside from that, the pacing of this show is so bizarre to me. I will talk about the 2-season split later. That really will get a dedicated rant because it really annoys me recently. But okay, let's consider season 1 of Island to just be the first 6 episodes. Because genuinely, these are not 2 complete seasons. Okay, let's not kid ourselves. This is a 12-episode drama split in half. If this show moved any faster, all of this setup should just be the first 4 episodes of the show. I think episode 6 should have happened by episode 4. And episodes 1, 2, 3 could be condensed into 1. Or just cut down a lot of it. Because genuinely, it took so long to get here. It took 3 episodes for all 3 main characters to even get together. And then after that, they don't stay together. But I guess, it kind of makes sense because they don't have a solid reason to be a squad or a team yet. But still, I'm sure in the second part, they'll finally stick together. But it took us 6 episodes out of 12 to get there. That should be something that's done by episode 4. That is half of the entire show. But okay, let's also talk about it in terms of character development. What have we achieved within the first half of the show? We found out a lot about Van and Miho's past, but I feel like it was just uncovering the past and not so much in developing their characters in the present leading up to the future. But I guess to think about it positively, to have a positive spin on how long it took for their squad to form. At least now, they have solid character motivations onto why they are working together. Okay, fine. I can't speak much about the actual writing, the lines themselves, the dialogue and everything. This is my first Prime Video K-drama. So I haven't figured out their style or their standards for translation. I mean, I feel like more or less I know that Netflix tends to prioritize localization. Well, Vicky is a little bit more detailed but a bit harder to read. Like their lines are much longer. Stuff like that, little things like that. So I cannot speak about the actual dialogue, but vibes alone, I feel like I have cringed enough times that I have become desensitized to it. Okay? And also desensitized to those moments where this just feels really dumb and really silly that I just have to turn my brain off, For example, Won Miho has had one extremely terrifying monster encounter on this island. And then she just completely forgets about it and walks alone in the middle of the woods only to be attacked yet again by another monster. And that monster is her driver, her longtime secretary, who, after he turns into a monster and is killed, has never been mentioned again. Okay, speaking of things that are never mentioned again, even if they seem to be important, remember that Miho is a teacher? Remember that she signed up to be a teacher or a guidance counselor just to, have something to do on this island? We see her doing her job maybe once, twice, but she just shows up to school and goes to her office, and that's it. I don't know. Also, Won Miho just walking up a mountain casually, climbing some rocks. No hiking boots, no equipment, just fancy heels, fancy heel boots, and a nice designer outfit. I am saying a lot of silly things related to Won Miho, but I love her. This is not a Won Miho hate account or hate episode. No, we love Won Miho. So I've mentioned the word silly, and that's just how I feel about this whole thing. I can't tell if the show doesn't take itself seriously anymore, or if I have stopped taking it seriously, and so I just think everything is a joke at this point. Or, okay, to say it more nicely, my brain is in deep sleep when I watch this show. It is completely turned off. My suspension of disbelief? Yeah, so suspended, In general though, fantasy makes it easy for me to just suspend my disbelief and go along with the ride. Because as long as it doesn't break its own rules, I don't care if it breaks the real world rules. And I feel like that is the key to enjoying this. Okay, I've pieced it together, guys. That's the key. You have to turn off your brain and let it take you wherever it wants. This show is not trying to outsmart you. It's not a mystery or a thriller. Remember when I criticized Little Women with that exact phrase, turning off your brain and letting it take you wherever it wants? I had the expectation that Little Women would be smarter than me. But instead, it just, dragged me around everywhere. This show is not trying to be smarter than you, actually. It is an action, adventure, fantasy where good fights evil, where there's a prophecy that is trying to be fulfilled while the bad guys are stopping it. And, there's this lore that doesn't actually seem to be that convoluted, okay? This is a story that you 100% have seen before, whether in a movie, in a video game, in an anime, wherever. You have seen this before, and it leans into that instead of fighting it. I don't think this show is trying to be super edgy and different and totally reinventing the genre or whatever. And as a viewer, I think it is helpful to lean into that perspective and to just accept that these are tropes and this is a setup you've seen before somewhere at some point in your life. And then just enjoy it, even if it is cliche and tropey in that way. Yay, I'm done being critical. I can have fun again. Okay, guys. This is the fun part of the review because I get to talk about how hot this cast is. To be completely honest and totally shallow about it, I am sticking to this because the cast is hot and they are acting the hell out of this terrible material. First of all, Kim Nam-gil. Okay, I have already announced that I am in my Kim Nam-gil phase. I'm gonna go through it. Maybe I will go through his dramas that I thought I would never check out. Maybe for him, I'll do it. I can do it. There is actually a deleted award from my year-end awards. Okay, I'll reveal it to you. Drama Bud Secrets. I deleted the Top Ajushi and Top Ajuma awards. And just so you know, Kim Namgil was top 3 last year of my Top Ajushis. You can place your bets on who number 2 and number 1 were. But Kim Namgil was fighting. He was gunning for second, but second was just a very tough competitor. And number 1 was a very tough competitor. If you know, you know. At me, talk to me, mention me. Who do you think it was? Anyway, Kim Namgil, I've always been impressed by him, and I am even more impressed. He is so cool. He just looks so cool. I know he just looks angry all the time or just done with everything and everyone. But when he fights, he's so cool. And you know what? Even in looking done with everyone, 80% of the time, he looks great at that too. But then he has these moments when he is yearning for Miho or for Wonjong, or you see how exhausted he is by this immortal life that he has lived. He is burdened with guilt for what he has done in the distant past, and how that face is staring at him today with a smile as if he hasn't hurt her so deeply. Oh my god, I love broken men! We love it. We love to see it. Next, Lida. He is gorgeous. She is fabulous. She is funny. She is the right amount of ditzy, but also cool, but also earnest when she talks about wanting to help people and to fulfill her prophecy or whatever. According to those who have read the webtoon, K-drama Won Miho is a huge improvement. Like, she was supposed to be this jobless chaebol brat. But here, they gave her a job and they made her more badass, I think. So good for her. They also made her into the reincarnation of Wonjong, which gives Van more of a reason to care about her. And their relationship in the webtoon was very transactional, and he was really cruel and vicious and violent. And he had the same soft spot for Wonjong. So by making Miho the reincarnation of Wonjong, I think it makes more sense. Like, I know it's cliche, but it makes more sense. And speaking of cliches, guys, what is this Van Miho love line they are teasing to me? What are they doing, huh? How did they know that I was in the mood for Beauty and the Beast / tragic lovers? Huh? Star-crossed, ill-fated lovers? So what if it's cliche? Let's lean into it! And also, Kim Namgil and Lee Da-hee have such great chemistry. They are selling it to me like crazy. Even if nothing happens romantically between their characters and we're just stuck with, tragic fate between two people, and you can infer that there is some romantic love there. They both embody their characters so well that they are selling the tragedy to me. I love it already. Next, Cha Eun-woo is a revelation to me. He is a revelation. He's fun. He's playful. He's fun. I like him. Johan was in the sidelines. He barely got any screen time for the first few episodes, but he really did shine in every opportunity that he got. I loved the storyline that he got with his brother in episodes 5 to 6. And the ending of episode 6, or that final confrontation, Cha Eun-woo showed his acting chops. Okay, I'm impressed. I'm genuinely impressed. Like, good for him. So, in terms of storyline, I at first couldn't figure out if it was case by case because they weren't really introducing the big bad yet. But now we are fully in big bad territory. I still think that episodes 1 to 4 could have been condensed, because episodes 5 and 6 are where the big bad storyline really starts. Miho is aware of her prophecy. We're seeing more cracks in Van's immortality and everything. Oh, setting us up for tragedy. I love to see it. And Johan got his storyline with his brother. And so now, aside from just wanting to protect Miho because she is Wonjong and she will complete the prophecy, he also has something personal against Gongtan, against the big bad. And now that they all have a reason to be here, we can see why they finally decided to come together to fight against Gongtan. So I'm really looking forward to the second part to see how that all happens. Because I think, a lot of episodes 1 to 5 were just wasting time. I don't know where this story was headed, but now I think I see, and I hope we just laser focus into it. Because this could be good. This could be really good, guys. But I guess, yeah, if the second half is freaking amazing, then I will forgive the first half for being so slow and draggy unnecessarily. I will not expect that it will be any less choppy or any less messily edited or whatever. But hopefully, this extra month that they took will help them, fix all the CGI issues and the editing and just make it flow more smoothly. Because once again, if this was just entirely bad, I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much. And I don't think I would still be here. But alas, I'm really into this. Here we go. Time to go into the actual rant, okay? Before I go into my final verdict and, of course, the recommended audience, who I think this is really for aside from me, I want to rant a little bit about this recent trend of splitting K-dramas up into 2 releases that are a month or even 3 months apart at times. This is a different discussion from, multiple seasons. Like, that is an entirely different thing. Because these are just shows that are split into parts. But it is one season in terms of story and structure. For example, Money Heist, Korea Joint Economic Area, The Glory, Big Bet. The First Responders, I heard, was also split this way. Although this is being broadcasted on SBS, so a terrestrial channel. So I feel like that's a different discussion. But for OTT platforms where they're not limited by a broadcasting schedule, they can really do whatever they want. Yeah, we can lump those together. Now, this whole split release thing, I could understand it for Netflix shows that are used to, big drops of the entire show at once. But I genuinely do not understand it for shows that release weekly or can release weekly. For example, Big Bet has the most ridiculous. It is the most ridiculous schedule I've heard so far. So, 16 episodes in total. They split it into 2 parts of 8 episodes. They release 3 episodes in one day and then 1 episode weekly until 8 episodes are out. And then they take a 2-week break. And then, I think same schedule as part 1. 3 episodes first and then 1. It's ridiculous. I don't understand why you can't just release it 2 a week. Now, my problem with this, especially for 16 episode K-dramas, is that they aren't actually structured or written as 2 seasons with complete stories. It's just 1 season split in half. Unlike dramas that are actually structured into seasons like Yumi Cells, right? Although they filmed that in one go continuously, they wrote Yumi Cells 1 with a certain story and certain arcs that would conclude by the end of season 1, and then wrote season 2 with their own stories and their own arcs. And, okay, going back to the general topic, when 16 episode dramas inevitably go through the mid-season slump, so usually I'd say episodes 8 to 12 or 8 to 14 on really bad cases, that means most of part 2 will just be really draggy episodes leading up to the finale. So that's my problem with it on a writing or in a pacing standpoint or perspective. From a marketing perspective or social media hype, whatever, there's actually no guarantee that this drop schedule will actually make people continue talking about it while they're waiting for part 2. Because I think theoretically, that's what they're counting on, that we're withholding the second part of the story from them, they're gonna keep talking about it until they get part 2. Right? They think that instead of 1 big drop, 2 drops will make it last longer in the online sphere, online conversation. But in this really oversaturated market or oversaturated space in K-dramas, both in terrestrial broadcasts, right? SBS, KBS, MBC, TVN, JTBC, and also ENA, right? See, so many channels, and then so many OTT platforms, Netflix, Disney+, TVing, Wavy, Genie. I'm missing some, I'm sure, but there are so many OTT platforms in just Korea alone. It's hard to make a buzz no matter what? Because people will move on to the next big thing. Like, there's just too much content out there. And because there's so much to watch, there is no guarantee that everyone who watched part 1 will come back for part 2 when they've already lost the momentum. Like, momentum is important. You know, sometimes I just keep going because, you know what, my schedule for Monday, Tuesday really includes this show. So I'll just keep going every week, you know, even if I'm not super into it because, I mean, I'm already seated, I'm already here. But when you've cut that momentum short, it's hard to get back into the rhythm of watching and remembering, right, what happened last time. It's hard. It's hard to keep up with everything and not just get tired. And, okay, aside from that, there are also people who don't want to watch something that they know will be incomplete. Like, they know they're just watching for a cliffhanger, for a 1 month or 2 month wait. And there's no guarantee that when part 2 actually drops, they'll pick it up. That is me with Alchemy of Souls. I swear I remember saying, yeah, I'm gonna watch part 1 while waiting for part 2 to air. And then it never happened. And now I know what will happen in part 2 and I'm not really interested based on people's critical reviews of how the show actually went. See, there are a lot of people like that. And you are once again limiting your audience. I mean, there is the principle of meron at meron namang manunod niyan. There will be people, of course, watching it. Like, it's not a complete zero, you know? But still, just as a consumer, it is really frustrating. Okay, and in terms of another point of discussion, Netflix shows are kind of restricted by their tradition of releasing things in one big drop. And only recently have they been experimenting with 2 drops. I think it's to keep subscribers subscribed, right? To make them hold on to their subscriptions for a few months longer just to, you know, watch the next part that's coming in a few months later. But, okay, specifically for Island, it was being released on TVing. And they were already releasing it 2 episodes a week, like most Kdramas. So why did they have to delay the last 6 episodes by over a month? It ended last January 13, I think. And they're gonna release part 2, or the first 2 episodes of part 2, in February 25. That's over a month of wait for 6 measly episodes where barely anything happened. I just don't know why it's beneficial for the show to be split up like this. My theory is that the CGI and the editing needs more work. And God, I hope they actually work on it in those extra weeks that they got, because it does need a lot more work. But okay, in general, I just don't see why K-dramas need to be released like that, given that they have this traditional structure of a complete story in 16 or 12 episodes. So it's just silly to pretend that we're watching 2 seasons of a show when it's not. But yeah, that's the rant. I don't know if that added anything useful to the discourse on this already, but it is just really frustrating as a consumer. Maybe I can understand it from a marketing or a whatever perspective, but as a consumer, it's frustrating. Anyway, the verdict for Island is, I'm finishing it, obviously. I have approached this show with the perfect viewing lens, and it has allowed me to accept whatever it throws at me without needing to defend it as a masterpiece. You can call the CGI and the editing ugly. You can say it's cliche and overdone. You can say the pacing is so boring and so slow and nothing has happened for something that is supposed to be like this dark, epic fantasy. Yeah, you're right. But I'm having fun. And that's because the recommended audience is actually pretty similar to who I am. I would recommend Island for people who, 1, like shonen anime with an overpowered protagonist, right? Van is a very OP shonen anime protagonist. And 2, this is for people who either liked Twilight or those who never allowed themselves to like Twilight, also known as me. And this is not an insult. This is not an insult to the show, okay? There is a guilty pleasure aspect to Twilight, right? That's kind of what we associate with it. And so I think this is a guilty pleasure show where I just want, hot leads. I want the easy moral of good versus evil. I want, star-crossed lovers who kind of bicker and don't like each other, but deep inside really care for each other and need each other and are tragically fated to maybe kill each other or maybe hurt each other somehow, but still need each other. And also just the image of this powerful, immortal man and this damsel in distress who needs him. You know, there is just this guilty pleasure aspect of it. And I think that's okay. It's okay to indulge in that guilty pleasure. That's me. I never allowed myself to like Twilight because one, I was like 9 years old when it was at the peak of its fame. Like, I don't think I should, be into that at that age. But also, it's like I just thought, I'm above this cliche, tropey, toxic stuff. But let's just remove the toxic and keep the cliche and tropey, and it's fun. Let's have fun with this. So I suggest you view it with that mindset. Also, if there are any video editors, fan cam makers out there, can you like edit Van Miho to Decode by Paramore? I mean, look at that color palette. Look at the entire color palette of this show. Is this not the first Twilight movie? We just need a little more blue, a little more cyan, right? The color grading, but I mean, we're halfway there. We're halfway through the Twilight cinematography. But okay. If you do this, if any video editor does this, at me, okay? I don't need credit, but I do want to see it. Thank you very much. So that's it for me today. See, I can be critical while still knowing that if you like something, you like something. It works. I don't know why the show came to me at a time when I didn't even know that I wanted something really cliche and tropey. Like, I saw the first teasers of Van and Miho and I thought, they're gonna give me brain rot. I'm here for them. I'm mainly here because they're hot and because I want to know if we're gonna get romance, okay? But that's me. I'm indulging in a guilty pleasure. Let me have it. But aside from that, I'm excited to go into this new year watching new shows with that perspective, right? That it's not for me, but talking about it could introduce it to someone else. And so I don't watch things, just looking for reasons to continue it or to drop it. I'm also looking for, nice things that someone else might appreciate. It's a gift recommendation and not a wish list for me. I'm still gonna criticize it and say why I don't like it, but someone else with different preferences might enjoy it. I'm gonna try to hold on to that mindset. I think it will be healthy for me, a little bit difficult, but overall a good exercise. But that's it for me today. See you in a month and a half when Island Part 2 comes out, and I will be happily seated. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you soon. Thanks for tuning in. Feel free to leave a comment, like, subscribe, follow, and tell me what you thought about today's episode. See you soon!